Horizon Zero Dawn is one of the most thought-provoking, interesting video game stories I've played in quite some time. Um, at the time of recording this video, I am about 47 hours into the game. Um, I finished the main quest line, I want to say on Tuesday. Today is Saturday. Um, so I am like, I find myself still thinking about this story, man. Like, Hades, Silence, Gaia, Elizabeth Sobek, Pharaoh, Ted Pharaoh, Apollo, Aloy, um, the machines. Like, I still find myself thinking about all this stuff, having dreams about it. Like, I just can't get it out of my head. It's the one thing that, like, about Horizon that I was not expecting to be so good, and what really caught me off guard was the story. It really, really caught me off guard. To honestly being like one of my favorite video game stories in recent memory. Um, it really is something special. And so I guess for this video, it's not really going to be like an analysis video. I will leave that to like the people who are better at that because I'm certainly not the guy for that. But I don't know. I just want to talk about it. I just want to talk about the major plot points. Um, finding out who Aloy really is. Talking about Elizabeth Sobek, of course. The ending cutscene, that cliffhanger with Silence and Hades. I want to talk about all of that. So I guess this is just really like a discussion video. Gonna be me rambling on, I guess. Um, so yeah, I don't know, if you just want to just be here for a little discussion, um, my thoughts about everything, I guess this is the right video for you. Um, so yeah, let's get. All right, so first I want to talk about Ted Faro and Faro Automated Solutions. I've got a lot to say about this guy, especially in the end, for sure. For sure, we will get there. Um, so I think kind of a little detail, but I personally think it's pretty relevant, is that both Pharaoh and Elizabeth Sobek were rivals. They were both basically masterminds at their craft, and also I think Elizabeth really didn't like him because of his quote unquote peacekeepers that he was making. Like, she did not agree with him like selling it to people and stuff like that. Um, so I think why it's relevant to me at least is because it says a lot about her when Pharaoh tells her like how badly he's fucked up with these peacekeepers, that she like swallows her pride and is like, okay, I need to like put all that stuff aside and like do something about this and like save humanity basically. So I think that says a lot about her. Um, yeah, so basically, Pharaoh is in the business of making machines and selling them to militaries and militias and stuff like that to keep the peace. Like, in his mind, he called them peacekeepers. That's what the Deathbringers and the Corruptors were in the game. Um, One day, something goes terribly wrong. They develop a glitch inside them that makes them eat biomass for fuel, dude. So like that's really scary to think about. They live off of biomass. Um and they self-replicate as well, dude. So yeah. So it is said that in 15 months the earth will completely be stripped clean. It will be basically be unlivable, hospitable, a barren rock wasteland. Um, just these machines like running havoc across the planet, just looking for something to eat, basically. Um, so obviously, this being a huge problem, Elizabeth moves quickly to find um, some sort of solution. But the thing is, there's no slowing this down. There's no stopping this. Like, the robots like, it's already too far gone. Like, there's no stopping this. Um, Especially since the deactivation codes um, for the robots would take way too long to actually crack and shut them all down. The Earth only has 15 months left and I think it was said that it would take like half a century to actually crack the deactivation codes. Obviously, they do not have that time, so they need some sort of quicker solution to this. And obviously, um, Elizabeth comes up with what we know is Project Zero Dawn, and it's first kind of like advertised as this major like super weapon, but obviously we know later on that's not what it is actually at all. Ted Farrow is like really against this in the beginning, but Elizabeth eventually gets him to sign off on it. Um, so yeah, let's talk about Project Zero Dawn. So first, I think it's kind of important to mention what Enduring Victory was. I think it was Operation. But yeah, Operation Enduring Victory was kind of kind of messed up when you think about it. But I feel like as really messed up as it was to throw civilians into basically a meat grinder, as what one of the board of directors said in the game, I think it was necessary. If they didn't do that, I don't think Project Zero Dawn would have been finished in time. So basically, what Operation um, Enduring Victory was put guns into literally every civilian's hand and just point them to the front. I think is literally like word for word what they said. Um, just to basically stall the robots, dude. It was a lost cause, and I don't think the civilians knew what they were fighting for. They obviously did not know what Zero Dawn was exactly, but they were just fighting in hopes that Zero Dawn would save them, even though they had no idea what it was. All right, so now that we know what Enduring Victory is, basically, it's the thing that gave Elizabeth Sobek the time to finish Zero Dawn, and I don't even think she really completed it. Like, it still was like I want to throw out a number like 97 or 96 percent like complete. Like, it wasn't 100% complete, but they had to go. Like, they were running out of time. Um, so what Project Zero Dawn was exactly, like I said earlier, it wasn't a super weapon, as it was first advertised. It was a way to basically restart life on Earth. It was a seed, I think it was called. Um, it was a AI, a really massive AI that would create machines, the animal-like machines that you fight in the game, to basically rebuild, reform the biosphere. So while you see the snap malls in the water, they're like cleaning the water. While you see the glint hawks and the storm birds, they're cleaning the air. Rebuilding the biosphere to make it livable again. Um, so they literally had to, this AI literally had to start from scratch to rebuild the planet, which I think is really, really cool, dude. Um, Also, it's important to know that Gaia was able to make humans again through kind of like mechanical wombs, and this is essentially how Aloy was created through Gaia. But she was also like implanted with DNA from Elizabeth Sobek, so she is essentially a clone of Elizabeth Sobek, and Gaia did this as a failsafe, I would say, in case she was destroyed or something went horribly wrong. So basically, Elizabeth can come back again and restart Gaia or like fix whatever happened. So yeah, that's basically like it was a huge revelation to find that out, dude. I was like, my mind was blown finding out that she was a clone of Elizabeth, and she basically has two mothers, I guess. But it makes sense, right? Like when Aloy first went to the door in All Mother, it showed us that her DNA match was like 97%. So there's no way, if your DNA is 97% with someone, that's no way that that's your mother. Like, if it's that close, you are probably a clone with that other person. So it was nice. It was like a little bit of foreshadowing there. It definitely made me think. Once I saw that 97%, I was like, wait a minute, she might be a clone. So back to Zero Dawn. The Earth was in fact extinct, but Zero Dawn was created. It was basically a clean slate to give Earth like life again, basically from zero. So Earth did go extinct, but Zero Dawn was created to bring it back. Um, so two important functions that Gaia had. I think she had like something around 8 functions that she could do. But two important ones being Apollo, which we'll talk about later, and Hades. Apollo was basically the function that stored all of humanity's knowledge that humanity has accumulated over the years. Would store it in here. Um, Obviously, so to preserve it for future generations to know, what happened in like, I don't know, the Civil War or World War II, so they can have knowledge of all these things, of technology and stuff like that, so they wouldn't be cavemans in the future. Um, and then Hades, which was basically, I think, one of the guys in the game called it Extinction on Demand. It was created basically if Gaia really, really messed up, Hades would come in and just wipe out Earth completely, all life on Earth completely, and then Gaia would have to start over again. So, with all that being said, unfortunately, Hades was like sent a signal that woke him up, um, which is obviously a bad thing because Gaia has not done anything wrong. Her whole process of restarting life and maintaining life in the biosphere and everything is going good, but Hades was still woken up. We don't know who woke him up. That's obviously going to be a mystery for the next game. So Hades is woken up to clean the slate, to take out all humanity on Earth when it does not need to be. Gaia is doing everything right, mind you. So Gaia then creates Aloy. This is where Aloy comes into play. She's created to put an end to Hades, with the knowledge of Elizabeth Sobek, or with the DNA of Elizabeth Sobek. So we find out later that Gaia created a spire that would send out a signal to deactivate all of Pharaoh's robots from destroying the Earth. This is the deactivation code that would take the humans like 50 years to crack, and Gaia was able to take that 50 years to finally do it. So she found the code, she cracked it, and she was able to deactivate all the robots. But now Hades wants to do basically the opposite. He wants to send out a signal to wake up all the robots and start this, this plague all over again to wipe the Earth clean again. Obviously, the end of the game, Aloy is successful. She stops him. She saves humanity. What she was created for to do. All right, so now that we have like all of the story stuff out of the way, I just kind of want to give like my thoughts on some like other moments. Like I want to talk about this incredible woman, this great, awesome, unselfish character, Elizabeth Sobek, the sacrifice that she made for humanity. She literally sacrificed everything just for humanity to keep living. Like I can't imagine like the unselfishness for this, dude. Like I can only imagine what sort of pressure was on her shoulders to complete this project. Just like the clock like ticking, like getting closer to the end, like how hopeless her and the other Apollos must have felt in this situation, and just to still like remain focused on her goal, to remain focused on Zero Dawn, to save humanity is just incredible to me. She, like I said before, man, she sacrificed everything just to ensure humanity to keep going. She cared that much about life to literally give up her life for it, and that's incredible to me. It was incredible, and her death scene was one of the many moments that left my jaw on the ground, dude. She's an amazing, amazing, well written character. Just to see her growth over this game was incredible to see. So on the flip side, we have Ted Faro, who this guy robbed humanity of knowledge. Basically, he said he didn't want future generations to learn from their mistakes. So he deleted all the files off of Apollo. That's why the humans in the time of Horizon are living in a primitive state, because they have no knowledge of what happened like years and years and years before them. They have no knowledge because this guy deleted all of that information, and he killed all of the Apollos as well. Like that moment when all of them die, all the air escapes from that room, the music that kicks in was like, I can't even describe how I felt in that moment. Like my my heart like sank, dude. Like I was just like I don't know, like shocked doesn't even do that scene justice. Like that scene was so good. Like just the shock factor, and like it was tragic, dude. It was like this guy was fucking awful, dude. Like I don't know, man. And the music that played, man, like my god, dude. Like once again, what I said before, just one of the many moments in this game that like left me speechless, absolutely speechless. And yeah, that was one of them. Ted Farrow's fucking the. All right, so let's talk about this ending. So obviously, whatever Silence gave to Aloy to put on that staff, or just the staff in general, is what probably kept Hades alive. And I'm not gonna lie, it actually like really caught me off guard that it was Silence in the end that is still like messing around with Hades. Like I was not like I thought he turned a new leaf. I thought he redeemed himself. That's what he wanted, but obviously he was just using Aloy. Like all he cares about is knowledge, and he is willing to do anything, no matter the cost, for knowledge. Which I'm curious. Like it can't just be knowledge, you know what I mean? Like he has to have some other goal in mind. Like it can't just be knowledge. So I'm really curious for the sequel. What is it that he's ultimately interested in? Like what is it he ultimately wants to do with this knowledge? You know what I mean? Um anyway, it sets up for a really interesting sequel, no matter what. Um him standing in front of a Horus, I think it was called, the machines that actually created the other machines. Yeah, so I think this sets up nicely for a pretty good sequel. We don't know who woke up Hades. We don't know what Silence wants. We don't know. Well, we haven't rebooted Gaia yet, I think. So, yeah, there's still some questions to be answered. Horizon was just like one of the best, like well written, most interesting, thought provoking stories I've played in quite some time. It made me cry twice, dude. Like, I love this game from start to finish. It was a hell of a ride, hell of a journey, and I can't wait for the sequel. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you stuck through it, thanks.